Welcome back to Arise Prime Time. I'm Charles Aniegolu, and this is the point in the program that I introduce our guest analyst who will give us her personal take on the news and issues of the day. And tonight I'm joined in the studio by the journalist, political affairs commentator, and Arise News analyst, Dr. Constance Ikokwu. Great to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with Dr. Muda Yusuf, very experienced man, obviously. I mean, he used to be the head of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce. I mean, he's got an enterprise organization now that's very relevant in Nigerian society. And he seemed to be sort of in the middle, wasn't he? He was critical of the government, but also supportive of the moves that they're starting to do.
I mean, you can see from his line of reasoning that he knows his onions. He has been in this industry for a very long time. So you have to agree with most of the points that he has raised. And I think one way to look at this is that, yes, the indices are bleak. Nevertheless, there's nothing that we are going through that hasn't happened in the past, whether within the shores of Nigeria or in other countries. What that means is that we can draw lessons and look at the steps forward. So I'll give you an instance. Let's just roll back momentarily to 1998. I mean, in 1998, Nigeria was in a terrible shape. And it was, the economy...
That was under the Abacha regime.
Exactly,
right.
The economy
military
was...
government.
Yes, the economy was characterized by unsustainable fiscal policies. Government theft was, very rampant, and the exchange rate was volatile, and so many other problems, decay of infrastructure. And then 1999 comes, and President Olusegun Obasanjo takes power. He pulls off his socks, gets together a team, and they take up the challenges. By the time he's leaving office, he has stabilized reasonably the economy. And he was able to do that because of the reforms that he initiated. He wasn't complaining, he just got to work. And I think one of the key characteristics that helped him or contributed to his success, there were success in varying degrees, there were also failures. But one of the key characteristics, I think, is that he was not myopic and clannish in the way he ran his government. He hired people that were, professional and good in every part of the country.
And he brought the country together at a critical time.
Exactly, and that contributed to cohesion and to high performance. So he laid the groundwork for economic progress and development. And what does that say? It says that there is no Nigerian president that can succeed running the country as his personal fiefdom. It's impossible. Why? Because Nigeria is big and complex. That means that the head, the captain of the ship, the principal, the boss, use whatever word you want to use, matters. It matters whether his welfare is inclined. It matters whether that leader is rotten at the top, because if he is, then he affects the rest of the chain. So these things are all important.
That's an excellent analysis, and I particularly like the word you use, myopic, not being myopic. I sometimes wonder what would have happened to Nigeria. As you correctly identified, it was right at the bottom in 1998 if we had had a leader who was not like Obasanjo, but is more like the ones that we had subsequently, because it was just like a steady decline. I mean, I'm not judging Tinubu's government quite yet, because he hasn't been around that long.
Yes. So that would have been, yes, that would have been devastating. And you see, it looks like we make some progress, and then we go back, we pull back because of the kind of people that come into power. So whatever gains you have made, they completely wipe it away. We cannot continue like that. So it has to be a leader that understands that Nigeria is complex and you have to be nationalistic, and you just have to go at it in the way that you are genuine and you really want to do something. And that's the only way forward. Like I said, there are lessons to learn from the past. If we do bring those lessons on board, there's nothing that is happening here that cannot be turned around.
Absolutely. Now let's move away to somewhere that seems intractably impossible to turn things around. That's the Middle East and what is happening between Israel and Gaza. You've heard of the latest, you had the Israeli ambassador there, Michael Freeman, trying to put up a defense for his country. Clearly there'll be a lot of bloodshed. on both sides in the coming days and weeks. Do you think anything good can come out of this war in terms of reshaping Israel's place in the region and its relations with the Palestinians, or is that just unthinkable at the moment? I mean, I wonder how the Israelis can live side by side with the Palestinians after all of this.
It's a good question, and it's very unpredictable. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing what is happening. Okay, so the Secretary of State of the U.S., Anthony Blinken, has gone to Israel, right? So part of the thing that you see happening there is that, you know, there are efforts.
He's gone to other parts of the Middle East
I'm coming there. So there are efforts to gain some sympathy and to win the hearts and minds of people, because it's tough for Israel to be in the midst of all the Arab states. And that's why he's gone to Qatar, he's going to Saudi Arabia, he's going to UAE, and he's gone to Jordan. He's met the Palestine president, Mahmoud Abbas, in Jordan. And when he was in Israel, he stood shoulder to shoulder with Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that America stands with you. But one interesting thing is that he goes personal. He talks about how his grandfather fled the pogrom.
Jewish.
Yes, the pogrom in Russia. You see, many people hear about the Holocaust in Nazi Germany, but the pogroms or the Holocaust also in Russia, where at least 2 million Jews were exterminated under Nazi occupation, is hardly talked about. So this is a war where everyone is trying to gain sympathy. Obviously, the Arabs are completely incensed with what is happening in Gaza. And so one of the things that Blinken will be doing is trying to make sure that this does not degenerate into a regional conflagration. Because what you're going to see is that Iran will come into the space, Hezbollah will come into the space, Al-Qaeda, and all sorts of groups. So it will be terrible if this happens. So it's a tough job for him, but you know, the U.S. will also be compelled to come in because they will always stand with Israel and they will support Israel. So it's a difficult answer, but like I said, it's unpredictable, it's unfolding, and then we'll just have to watch what happens.
Briefly, I mean, a massive intelligence failure, though, on the part of the Israelis.
It is. You know, I don't, like you said, we do not know how they live there. It's difficult all the time to get it right. You know, so, and I think that Hamas has a lot of support from outside. It's not only within. They've got external support, and they've been planning this for a very long time. And I think for an extended period of time, this kind of things will continue, because most people, maybe Iran and some other countries, do not want Israel to exist in Palestine. And then it also brings the question, do you want a two-state solution? Would there be an Israel? Would there be a Palestine? After all the war, they have to go back to the table and talk again about how this is possible in that region.
Yes, that's something we're going to keep a very close eye on. Constance, thank you very much indeed. Dr. Constance Ikokwu is a journalist, political affairs commentator, and Arise News analyst. That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again on next week, actually, from me and the entire team here in Abuja and Lagos. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.